You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so don't build your business without one. This is Mindset Monday, where we lay out the tools, frameworks, and mindset you need to scale your contracting or trading business today. We're going live in multiple places today. We're having some fun with this, but not the iPad, because the iPad is not being nice to me today. We'll get it next week. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Gerritt Bake. We're here live in Salt Lake City, Utah. Where are you at? You guys know the drill. Go ahead and drop your name and your business name, and we will give you the good old shout out, as they like to say. Let's see. Who do we got today? Nobody. Just kidding. Cancel. Let me see here. Let me get this thing up and running. Close that out. There we go. Got rid of that echo. So if you're here with us live, you guys know the drill. Go ahead and give us your name and your business name, and we'll give you the good old shout out. So we are working on running this thing live on the school platform and inside of YouTube and Facebook and wherever the hell else we are. Let's see what we can do with this thing. Now, the topic for today, right? It's Monday. We are in March. Like, can you believe we're in March already? Which means we're already 2 months into this year, which means if you've been waiting for something to happen, you're 2 months behind the people who have already been doing the stuff that they need to do to get the results that they want to get out of their life, right? And ultimately out of their business. So the question that you have to ask yourself is why? Like, why am I at where I'm at today? Why are things not happening the way that I want them to happen? Why is it that I don't seem to be getting the results that I want out of my business, right? And that's the crazy thing is, more often than not, what we end up wanting to do is blame someone or something else for the lack of results that we have, right? Now, I'm in this really unique place, which you're probably in a very similar place. You got some guys, right? You're growing and it just feels like things aren't moving as fast as you'd like them to move. Or it just feels like, man, you're just kind of stuck right now, right? The problem that you have has little to do with the weather, the economy, whatever the hell else is going on overseas, and more to do with you and your ability, not just to talk to people, not just to hire people, not just to create roles and responsibilities, but ultimately to manage people, right? And what does it take to manage people? Because true growth doesn't happen by you doing more. In fact, we had a plumbing business in here on Thursday and two partners, and we were talking about this. They hustle and grind and work their way to 2 million a year, right? Which isn't bad, but it wasn't where they wanted to be. They both wanted to be above 10. But how do you get from 2 to 10, right? The things that got you to 2 won't get you to 10. Now, if you guys are here with us live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name in the comments, and we'll give you the good old shout out, as we like to say, right? Now, if what got us to 2 won't get us to 10, what do we have to change? What do we have to do? Well, there's a couple things. In the premise of today's conversation centers around understanding what leadership truly is, right? And the meeting or meetings that you need to have on your calendar that will help you get there. But understand that at the core of it all lies one person, and that's you. Now, you may tell me, oh, well, I have a business partner, or my dad's involved, or whatever the thing may be. But I can tell you factually that if you don't take responsibility for the problems that are happening in your business, you cannot own the solutions. You can't. You're waiting for someone or something else to handle it. Okay. So let's work this thing backwards. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're doing at least 7 figures. Now, I know a few of you guys aren't doing 7 figures, and that's okay. But a few of you are, and a few of you will get to that point this year. Great. So you're around 7 figures. You got a couple guys on your team, maybe a project manager, a lead, a foreman, a couple of laborers or apprentices, whatever title you want to use. You got somebody helping you in the office, maybe a couple of people, maybe you have a virtual assistant. And you're at this point where you're like, man, the business is coming in, maybe not as consistently as wanted to, but the business is coming in. It just doesn't seem that we can get out of this hole that we're in. It just doesn't seem like we can get unstuck from where we're at right now. And the question comes up that why? Why is it that we can't get unstuck? Why is it that it feels like I'm repeating myself over and over and over and over again like a damn broken record? New job, same problems. Doesn't seem any different. So what is it that needs to happen? Well, let me work things backwards. For those of you that don't know, I was a police officer in Arizona, and I had a great time, learned some stuff, screwed some stuff up, had a couple of really good bosses and had a couple of really bad bosses. But I will tell you that most of the time that I spent working there was in what we called special operations. Now, what is special operations? It's a really cool name for saying SWAT, narcotics, undercover, things like that, right? And the first time I stepped into that world, I thought, hey, cool. I don't have to wear a uniform anymore. I can go to work at shorts and a t-shirt, right? I get some cool weapons and some cool cars and some cool toys, right? That's what I thought it was all about. Little did I realize that the success that happens in that environment has everything to do with structure, with organization, and with accountability. Like, that's it. In fact, you want to know something crazy? I bet if I didn't teach you how to market, if I didn't teach you how to run jobs, if I didn't know anything about sales or anything like that, finances, and if I just helped you bring structure, organization, and accountability to your business, you would double next year. Period. Why? Because it's such a hard skill, not only to learn and master, but then to create an environment around. Such a hard thing. Why? Because you're growing a business, right? You're like, Johnny, quit messing up, but I love you, man. You're my cousin. And together we'll make this thing happen. And you're rah, and you're forgiving people and you're being the nice guy and you're bending over backwards. Meanwhile, sacrificing yourself and your business in the process. So what has to change? Okay. What has to change are those three things: structure, accountability, right? And organization. But how do we bring that to our business? How do we bring that inside of our culture and make it become part of who we are? So let me give you a couple tips. Okay. Number one, most important, you have to create your standard, right? On my wrist, I've got this wristband here that's raised the standard. Okay. And I have that because it's a constant reminder that what's good enough yesterday isn't good enough today. Period. Okay. But most people in life run around with zero standards. They have no standards for how they dress. They have no standards for cleanliness. They have no standards for health. They have no standards for work. They have no standards for anything in their life. And that's why so many people struggle, because they lack standards. So you're going to have to create standards in your business. You may have some of your personal standards, right? Like, I wake up at 4 a.m., right? But I'm not going to tell everybody on my team, hey, you got to wake up at 4 a.m., right? Different standards. Now, standards are important. But what can I tell my people? We start at 8 a.m., not 8:05, not 8:15, not 8:20, not 8:30. We start at 8:05, okay? Which means if you're not here at 8 o'clock, you're late. If you're not here early, you're late. And my team all knows this, right? The standard, right? The standard is that we go above and beyond for our clients, which means I don't want you to tell me what's wrong with them. I don't want you to tell me what it is that they're struggling with. I want you to talk to me about what we're doing to help them find solutions to their problems, right? So let's go back to your business. I actually posted about this on Facebook the other day, right? The guy's your best worker, gets the job done, but he never shows up on time. Problem or not, right? And it was interesting to see the divide of responses. But coming back to you, you have to create the culture, the standard that you hold in your company, right? Done right the first time. I don't know, always high quality, whatever it is that the standard is for your business, you need to create that standard. And until you do, your job quality will go up and down. The people that you bring in the door quality will go up and down, right? And you'll never be able to grow the business to the level that you believe that you can grow it to. The second thing, okay, clear roles and responsibilities. Just assuming that someone knows what to do and how to do it is a really good way to get yourself in trouble. We're working on a paint job right now. It's a commercial project. We've been working on that project for 6-7 months now. It's been a while. We're at the point where they did the final walk today. And we have the painting company that we hired, okay, that is still refusing to accept responsibility for some of the errors that they made. Like these particular doors, they try to roll the doors. Can't roll these doors. You got to spray them. So now they got to be redone, right? And there's a whole lot of finger pointing as to who's responsible for it. Instead of just assuming responsibility and going, hey, you know what? We screwed up. We're going to fix it. Now, let me ask you, from my perspective, how likely is it that I want to use this company again in the future? Refusing to accept responsibility, trying to sneak in change orders. Like, I don't want to work with them in the future. Okay. So why would somebody want to work with and for you in the future? Same thing. Okay. You have to create the standard. Okay. And they need clear roles and responsibilities. What's expected out of them and how do you expect them to do it? We walked through with every sub that we worked with on this project. We walked through the project with them, plans in hand, what was expected and how was expected of it. My wife, who's our project manager, was there every day showing them exactly what needed to be done. And yet still problems, and yet still errors, and yet still no one accepting responsibility. But what does that tell us? It tells us exactly what we need to know, which is this company is not going to be a company that we're going to work with in the future. Not because they're not good people, but they're just not the right people. They're not the people that want to build like we want to build. They're not the people that want to be held accountable like we want to be held accountable, right? They're not. And so if we continue to do business with them, what's going to happen to our business? It's going to go in the toilet, period. Okay. So you need clear roles and responsibilities. Now, the third thing, and this is really important, okay, which is accountability. Now, accountability is somebody committing to something, okay, and then someone external or outside of them holding them to the standard that they committed to, right? So I gave a little bit of an example there, but I want you to think about it this way. If the standard is we close 30% of our jobs and you as a salesperson is required to close 30%, me saying it's okay for you to close 12% means zero accountability. If I expect you to be at work at 8, and I talked about it, and it's part of our policy and procedures that you signed off on, and you keep showing up at 8:15 and 8:30, zero accountability, right? I'm not holding you to the standard that you committed to. I create the standard and you opt into it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't hold yourself to the standard and I don't hold yourself to the standard, it's my fault. There's zero accountability. Now, I want you to start thinking about this in your business. If I was to ask you what level of accountability you have in your business, what would you tell me? Would you tell me that you have a little bit? Would you tell me that you talk about it at night with your spouse? Would you say you have a lot of it? Like, where do you lie in this whole spectrum of accountability? What I tell people is keep it simple, right? You have to be accountable to yourself first. Which if you tell yourself, I want to build a $2 million a year business, then you have to take the steps necessary to get there. Accountability being one of them. Okay. But at the end of the day, you are the one that sets the rules. And more importantly, you have to hold people accountable to the rules. There's a plumbing company we work with in California. Okay. They'll do probably, 18 million this year. And when you think about an $18 million a year company, you're like, man, they've got to be so structured and they got to be so organized. No. When we first started working together, we had problems. We had issues. Now, what were some of the issues? Well, accountability was the big one. Okay. So the way this plumbing company works is they have a third-party company that sends them jobs. Okay. And their job is to go fulfill those jobs, whether it's to snake a drain, replace a toilet, clear out a sewer line, whatever the thing is. So the way that they work, right, is they have their guys come to the warehouse, pick up the supplies for the jobs that day, and then drive out to the job, right? Now, the problem that they were having was they expected everyone to be at the warehouse before 8 a.m. expected. Except you had people rolling in at 7:30, 8, 8:45, 9:15, 10, 10:30 in the morning. Okay. Now, because this business was in California, you and I both know traffic in California, not so good. So, what was the problem that they were having? Their teams were underperforming because they couldn't get the work done in the amount of time that they had, because they weren't available in the amount of time that they had. So, what did we come up with? Well, something very simple. We said, you need to hold your people accountable. And this is what we did. We said, okay, Friday, you're going to have a meeting with your entire service department. And you're going to say, okay, guys, all your techs. Okay, guys, starting Monday, you're required to be here by 8 a.m. At 8 a.m., we're going to close the roll-up door. If you're not here by 8 a.m., you won't get your materials for the day, which means you don't have any work, which means you're going to go home. There's a little pissing and moaning. Oh, that's BS, blah, 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 whatever. But they made it super clear. Everybody was there. Everybody heard it, right? Everybody understood it. Monday morning, by the way, they have 40 techs. Monday morning, 30 of the 40 techs were there by 8 a.m. And what did they do? They closed the roll-up door. So you had 10 guys who weren't very happy, who rolled into the office yelling and screaming. Two of them didn't come back after Monday. The other 8 were there by 8 a.m. The standard, right? Now, instead of wasting 2.5 hours a day, which we can do math, we don't have time for it now, but we can do math as far as like, okay, what's the daily rate? Okay, how many hours are we paying? Okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? And realizing how much it was losing the company. Okay, we could talk about that. But what really mattered was the fact that they created a standard and they held people accountable to that standard. And yes, listen, sometimes you're going to have to make an example out of people. It's just reality, right? Sometimes that person that you love and care for, that person that's been with you since the beginning, they got to go. They got to go because they're the reason that you're not going to get to where you want to get to. 2 million, 4 million, 12 million, 20 million, right? I'll give you another example. There's a caulking and waterproofing company I work with here locally. Good friend of mine. Okay. And we do this particular exercise with behavior profiling, right? And we use it to put the right person in the right seat more than anything. But as we're doing this exercise, he realizes, right? Light bulb moment. He realizes that this guy that he has in his project manager role is costing him money. Now, not because he's not a good guy, he's just the wrong guy, right? Sent an email to a client, lost $40,000. Had the wrong supplies going up, the wrong material going up on a job, had to strip it back down, buy the right supplies, and then reapply it. Lost time, lost money. And he realized he wasn't the right guy. Now, at that point, he gets to make a decision. Am I going to keep this guy around? Or am I going to find a new guy? What do you think his first reaction was? Yeah, you guessed it. Hey, is there another place where I could put this guy? Because I really like this guy. He's a friend of mine. He's been with me for years and everything. I was like, look, you have the decision. You have the data. You have the information now. It's your choice. It's your choice whether you keep him around or not. You already know, though, if you keep him in this position, what's going to happen? He's shown you, and I've shown you behind the scenes that he doesn't have the behavior profile for what you're looking for. So it's your choice. Your choice if you're going to keep him around. Your choice if you're going to continue to put up with the fact that he's costing you money. Your choice to move him to another position where he may do the same thing. Or your choice to put him in a position where he has somebody who can control. Your choice, right? So at the end of the day, understand it's your business and it's your choice. Whether you succeed or fail, again, has little to do with the environment, the weather, political nature, or what's happening overseas, and has everything to do with you. You might be saying, oh, there's less jobs. Maybe, but that doesn't mean there's no jobs. Who's getting the jobs then? You might be saying, oh, I can't find the right project manager. I can't find the right lead. I can't find the right person to help me in the office. Maybe. Or maybe you're not looking hard enough. Or maybe you're just not willing to pay what it's worth to find that right person. Maybe. My guys just can't seem to figure it out. Maybe. Or maybe you just have the wrong guys and you're just unwilling to do something about it. So at the end of the day, if there's anything that's going to help you grow your business this year, It's you starting to leverage what matters most: accountability, organization, and structure. If you can't implement those in your business, you're going to have a hobby for the rest of your life. All right. That's all I got for you guys. You know what time it is. It's time for you to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.